Very good evening. Today we are going to discuss another important policy, that is EXIM policy. So this is mainly related to that export or import of material to our country. So in that EXIM policy, that is formulated mainly to regulate or export import of all the materials, not specific to that seeds, but in the EXIM policy 2010 to 227. Some policy that related to that seed export import also there. So that aspects we are going to discuss today. So before getting into that seed related issues in EXIM policy, we must know the main objective of that EXIM policy of our country. So main aim of our EXIM policy is to accelerate the economic growth from lower level of economic activity to higher level of economic activity. So by that way we can make our economy globally more vibrant. So through vibrant global competitive economy, we will try to derive maximum benefit from the expanding global market opportunity. That is the main aim of our EXIM policy. So in order to achieve that these first objectives, we are going to provide access to all sort of that raw materials and intermediating materials and component and consumables and capital goods that are needed for production of some consumer oriented products with internationally acceptable quality. So internationally acceptable quality material we are going to produce. So if you are able to produce internationally acceptable quality product, means we can go for export of that material. So by the way of exporting that material, we can earn more money also. So in order to produce this kind of material, provision of access to essential raw material alone is not sufficient. We have to strengthen the technological ability of our local community. So technological ability also need to be increased, and also we need to increase the efficiency of our Indian agriculture and industries and service sectors. Then only we can achieve that quality product production, that too in a maximum level. So apart from meeting our domestic demands, we need to produce excess quantity, that alone we can go for export. So once this is possible, automatically this particular growth and development also pave the way for creation of new employment opportunity. So with that angle, that EXIM policy was formulated. So in that this is the objectives. So in that we are going to discuss the matter related to export or import of seeds in this particular class. So that export or import of the seeds and planting material is governed by the Export and Import EXIM Policy 2002 to 2007, and now and then some amendment also they are making. So for effective implementation of this particular policy, so under that act only this seed export import will come. So previously before introduction of these EXIM policy, lot of restrictions are there with reference to export of the cultivated variety. From 1/4/2002 to some relaxation was given with reference to export of the cultivated variety to other countries. So even though we are relaxed some export of that material to other countries, so some of the materials still under restrictions. The material like breeder seed or foundation seed or wild variety materials not permitted to export. Similarly, the onion, persimmon, cashew, nux vomica, rubber, pepper cuttings, sandalwood, saffron, neem, forestry species and wild ornamental plants are not permitted to export. So still under restriction is there. Similarly, the export of Niger, which is analyzed through the TRIFED or NAFED alone, is permitted. And regarding that export of that groundnut seed also, that is subjected to compulsory registration of contract with the APIDA. So they have to have a compulsory registration of the contract with the APIDA. So under that condition only they can go for export of that material. So even though all these materials are export is under restrictions, but the Director General Foreign Trade, case by case, they can permit based on the recommendation received from the Department of Agriculture and Cooperations. So that Director General Foreign Trade and the Department of Agriculture and Cooperations They are playing a major role with reference to export of seed and planting material from other country, as well as import of the material from the other country to our country. So these are all the provisions regarding that import of seeds and planting material. So regarding that import of seeds, tubers, bulbs, cuttings, saplings of vegetable, flowers and fruit is allowed without a license in accordance with the import permit granted under Plan Quarantine Order 2003. So this is with reference to that the import of vegetable, flowers and fruits. Similarly, import of seeds and planting material for trial purpose, so for conducting experimentation purpose, and also that living plants by ICR is also permitted without a license, but they have to fulfill the condition laid on by the Ministry of Agriculture. So this is for ICR for research purpose. And regarding that import of seeds and tubers of potato, garlic, fennel, coriander and cumin is allowed in accordance with the import permit granted under Plan Quarantine Order 2003. So this also like that of that vegetable, flowers and fruits. So here we are going to follow that Plan Quarantine Order strictly. And regarding that import of seeds like wheat, rye, barley, oat, maize, rice, millet, jowar, bajra, ragi and other cereals, soybeans, groundnut, linseed, palm nut, cotton, castor, sesame, mustard, safflower, cloth and jasaba, etc. is allowed. So both cereals and oil seeds are allowed without a license, subjected to new policy on seed development 1988 in accordance with the import permit granted under Plan Quarantine Order 2003. So already in the previous discussion regarding that new policy on seed development itself, I told you very clearly that is that implementation of that new policy on seed development that given a new path to the Indian seed industry. So after implementation of that particular policy only, that the farmers of India got access to quality planting material that is available anywhere in the world. So based on that provisions available in that policy, we can import the cereals and the pulses and some of the pulses and oil seeds also through this EXIM policy. So the EXIM policy also taken into consideration of the new policy on seed development 1988. So these are all the provisions are available with reference to import of the various kinds of planting material. So for vegetable, flowers and fruits, and for ICR for the research purpose what they have to do, and report that import of that potato, garlic, fennel, coriander, cumin. So for that what we have to follow, and that import of materials related to that cereals, pulses and millets. So all these cases that provisions are available the EXIM policy. These are the procedures that importer or exporters need to follow in order to get a import permit or import license. So the EXIM policy is reiterated all import of seeds and planting material as per the regulations that are available in the Plan Quarantine Order 2003. So mainly we are insisting that Plan Quarantine Order 2003 with reference to import of seeds and planting material. The main purpose is, so we need a quality planting material. At the same time, by the way of importing that quality planting material, we should not introduce any exotic pest and diseases. That also very important. So for that purpose only, for import related issues, we are going to strictly follow that Plan Quarantine Order 2003. So that import license also mainly given by the Director General Foreign Trade only on the recommendation of the Department of Agriculture and Cooperations. Again, the Department of Agriculture and Cooperation also will make a recommendation to the TGFT based on the recommendation given by the ICAR. Whoever interested to import any planting material or seed material from other country, they have to receive the sample quantity of the seed material that should be given to the ICAR. Upon receipt of that sample, ICAR will conduct the multi-location trials, MLT, for one season at various geographical area. So at the time of cultivation, they will assess the quality traits like yield potential and pest and disease resistant potential in the field level. Even after harvest, up to 3 month period of 3 months after harvest also, the material will be put it under observations. Once that ICAR will satisfy, then only they will give a recommendations. So with that recommendation only, that importer they have to submit application to the Department of Agriculture and Cooperations. So after receipt of that application from the importer along with the recommendation made by the ICAR, that Department of Agriculture and Cooperation, they have to make a decisions whether they are going to accept or reject. So whatever may be, that decision should be taken within 30 days of receipt. Within 30 days of receipt, they have to take a decision. So once they decided to accept, means that application should be recommended to the TGFT, that is Director General Foreign Trade, for grant of the import. So after receipt of that recommendation and everything, that TGFT, they will give a import permit to the importers. So then importer, they have to import that materials. That imported material should will be put it in the quarantine. So until that quarantine period is over, that material should be imported material consignment should be kept in a ponded warehouses at the cost of the importers. So that received material sample will be taken by the plant protection advisors. So they will thoroughly check the presence or absence of the any pest and disease and weed problems. The quarantine measures strictly they will follow as per the plant quarantine order 2003. If at all that material is found free of any exotic pest and diseases, then only the plant protection advisor, they will give a clearance. So then only they will give a clearance. So once after getting that clearance only, whatever that material that is put it under ponded warehouse, that will be released for local distribution purpose. If at all any problem, any pest and diseases or unwanted things are recorded in the seed material, as per the guidelines given by the plant protection advisor, the consignment will be destroyed completely. That will be destroyed. So that is a process right now we are following. So here we never go for any compromise in the plant quarantine sites. So that is strictly we are following. So by that way only we can prevent the introduction of any exotic pest and diseases in our country. So by that way we can protect the interest of our that farmers also. In addition to that, once that material is imported, means a small quantity of material also given to the National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources, that will be put it in the gene bank. So that also need to be done. So these are all the things we have to follow in order to import a material from the other countries. Again, that TGFT or plant protection advisors, they based on their requirement, and Exim Committee also constituted in the seed division of the IRA. So they will deal the application for the export import of the seeds and planting material in accordance with the new policy on seed development and Exim regulations. So they will deal, so they will verify, they will scrutinize whether this is really needed. All those things they will verify. So once in every month, that Exim Committee will meet and subject the tendency of the proposal for import of the export of the planting materials. So after discussions, after thorough scrutiny, they will give a recommendation to the plant protection advisor or Director General Foreign Trades regarding that issue of that license for import or export of the planting materials. So based on that, after getting all those things only, that import license or export license will be given to that concerned applicant. The applicant also need to submit 20 copies of the application for export or import purpose in a prescribed format. So these are all the things they have to follow. So by following these particular thing only, that importer or exporter, they can get a license. After that only they can go for that export of our material or import of the other country material to our countries. So based on after introduction of these particular EXIM policy, and now our country also started to export seed material to other countries. So that export value also slowly increasing. So here I have given that seed export at a global level and the Indian contribution also. In terms of value, that seed export share of India is 83 million US dollar, whereas in the global market value is 11,378 million US dollar. Regarding that the seed import share of India, it's in terms of value 107 million US dollar, whereas at the global level it's 10,954 million US dollar. So slowly we are putting our effort for producing quality seeds and that seeds are we are trying to export to other countries also. So this is a top export destinations in world. So vegetable crops as well as field crops are moving like anything at international level. In that Asia, with reference to vegetable crops, the topmost destination is the Asia. So 50%, 57% of the material is exported to Asian countries. Similarly, field crops, 70% of the seed materials are exported to Asian countries. So that Asian country is the one of the potential marketplace for seeds. Regarding that Indian export destinations, with reference to the Asian countries, I mean, and the Association of the East Asian Nations, that is the Philippines is a major destinations. Similarly, the SAARC, among the SAARC country, the Bangladesh is the topmost exported destination for India's concern. So that already we discussed these particular slides, why we are exporting our material to only Bangladesh and Philippines, why we are not able to export our material to that temperate countries like Europe and America, all those things we were discussing in the first class itself. So and also how we can improve that export potential also we were discussed in the first class itself. So this is a leading crop segment export from India. So we are our export seed export consists of 36% is a cotton seed material, and Bangladesh they are the main importer of our materials. So the Africa and mainly they are also receiving the material from outside the country, but mainly they are receiving from USA and Europe. But even though they are receiving the material from the US and Europe, the performance of that seed material is not good, because in the US and Europe, that is somewhat it's a temperate climate. So African region is a tropical nature. So the performance of temperate variety and tropical condition is a very big question mark. So because of that, even though they are getting quality seed material, so because of the different climate, so they are not able to get a good yield. So with reference to that this particular thing, with reference to India, it's a very good one, because we have a tropical variety, high yielding variety. Once we target the African countries, definitely we can hatch hold of them, or we can also convert that Africa as a major export destination for our seed materials. Other than that, in Africa, so many other countries also there, that Kenya, Zambia, South Africa, Zimbabwe, all those countries. So they are also very fond of cultivating that sorghum, bajra, rice, maize, cotton, sunflower and vegetables. So we can also target those countries also, apart from targeting that SAARC nation like Bangladesh and Pakistan. So so these are all the possibilities. So now that policy, EXIM policy also we enacted, so many relaxation also we are given. The only thing what we have to do is we need to produce a quality seed material. So already we are producing a quality material in the case of cotton. So cotton and that give a major export revenues. So in the year 2018, 420.6 million US dollar we were generated by the way exporting that cotton seeds. And 2017, 18,530 million metric tons of materials are exported. 2018, cotton exports were valued at 1.2 million US dollar. Mainly our import countries are Sudan, Myanmar, Estonia, Ethiopia, and Hong Kong as the major countries. So Gujarat is one of the major cotton producing state in the country. So again we are also working for improvement of that our export seed export potential. So for that purpose some modifications was made in the proposed seed bill 2019. In the case of seed act, right now we are operating our seed business as per the provisions available in the seed act 1966. So as per section number 6 of the Indian Seed Act, so that specifies the minimum limit with reference to only germination, physical purity and genetic purity alone. But if you aim for export of our material to other country, all the country they are strictly insisting that plant quarantine aspects, and at that angle they are insisting that seed health status. So in the Seed Act we never bother about that seed health status, whereas in the case of a proposed seed bill 2019, In addition to that minimum limit for germination, physical purity and genetic purity, we are also insisting that seed health status also. So once we are going to make that seed health status as a mandatory, automatically everyone started to produce seed that is devoid of any pathogens. So once that we are able to produce seeds, the health point of view really good, we can match our product at international, as per the international requirement. And also now slowly we are getting into that schemes like OECD seed certification scheme and ISTA seed certification scheme and all. So this and all really welcome sign. So definitely this will boost up our seed export to other countries. So some provisions also made available. So in the seed bill 2019, so once that seed bill 2019 is passed the parliament, we can expect a major material getting exported to other countries after fulfilling our domestic demands. So these are all the things with reference to that EXIM policy. So EXIM policy is effectively implemented from 1/4/2002 onwards. So some relaxation was given with reference to export of seed material. Still some of the materials are restricted. So for that also that DGFT and Department of Agriculture and Cooperation, they are deciding authority case by case. They are also permitting for export of those materials. So and what are the procedures we need to follow, so everything given in these particular slides. So these are all the things with reference to that EXIM policy with reference to export or import of seed material from other countries. Thank you. With that we are completing that EXIM policy. So I think with that we are completing almost all the legislative measures with reference to that seeds. Thank you.